Hi there, my name is Susan. I'm a divine feminine energy healer and guide. Let's talk about hypervigilance today. Hypervigilance. I am intentionally placing this video after the video on shame. And so I would highly recommend, if you enjoy this video, you go back and watch the video prior to this one about shame. Shame is a big green light, because I feel like this is taking that concept and really anchoring it into some powerful shifts that you can have in your life. I talked about in that former video about deficits and feeling like maybe with your life experience that things are harder for you than they seem to be for other people, or there are parts of yourself that aren't supposed to be this way, or I'm not supposed to do this thing. And all of that is very shamey. It's very judgmental, it's very closed-minded, it's very non-helpful, non-healing, non-empowering, and it's very limiting. And it just makes you feel like this, right? And it makes you want to withdraw. It makes you want to shut down, makes you want to run away, makes you want to avoid, distract, numb. All of these coping things are all showing you there's shame at the core. And so part of that is, back to today's subject, around the idea of hypervigilance. I am gathering from the comments that a lot of you are leaving here that a lot of you have experience with therapy or psychology. Maybe you've worked with a therapist, or maybe you have researched your own therapy, right? I'm someone who I've always been fascinated by psychology, and I used to say, I don't anymore, but I used to say if I were ever to go back to school, I would want to go and study psychology. I am an Aquarius sign. I find humans fascinating, and I love studying, learning people, absorbing, feeling energies and playing. For me, that is a playground. I find a lot of pleasure and play in observing and feeling, understanding, asking questions with people. And so hypervigilance is clearly a term that can stir up a lot of shame, right? Hypervigilance is looked at as a bad thing. Hypervigilance is like what you're not supposed to do. Hypervigilance is a trauma response. I mean, it's all this negative energy about you're not supposed to be this way, and you're only this way because of all this crap that happened to you in your past. And that right there makes you feel like I'm a problem, right? Oh, I have all these traumas, I have all these wounds and problems, and it can just stifle you. So what if we flipped the script here? And this is what I love to do. What if we chose to look at hypervigilance and use it to your empowerment? What if we learned to rewrite the negative stories associated with hypervigilance and learn to see how it's actually your BFF if you know how to use it? Hypervigilance can be an asset. I was on the phone with my best friend earlier this morning. We weren't talking about hypervigilance, but we were talking about our life journeys and understanding how if we had not had these like horrible things happen to us that would have appear that they would have set us up for failure, or some massive deficit from our past of this bad thing happening to us that really put us in a position of having to really work through some significant things and has made us into people that had a lot of things to overcome. But it's in those overcoming of those things that makes you so much more powerful and valuable. I was mentioning at the very end of the video on shame I did prior to this one about if you go through the shame, if you rewrite the negative things and learn to twist them around to your power and use them as your power, you become extremely valuable because you have learned to do things and work with shame, work with trauma responses, and you have learned how to use them for your good, and you can help other people, right? So hypervigilance is your BFF. Why? Hypervigilance is an amazing skill and tool that you can use on your self-development, personal growth, soul ascension path, and in understanding your soul mission, soul purpose. if you know how to use hypervigilance correctly. The only problem, it's very simple. The only problem with hypervigilance, as most people see it, is that you're hypervigilant on something outside of yourself. You're walking into a room and you're checking to see all the energies at play to know what I need to do or how I need to behave or how I should show up in this space so that I'm safe and I'm okay and bad things don't happen, right? Or it's you're in communication with someone, you're talking with someone, and maybe things are getting uncomfortable in the conversation. So you're hyper vigilant on their energy and what's happening over there. And then it's affecting how you communicate, or maybe how vulnerable or not vulnerable, usually, you are. Hypervigilance is simply focusing on things outside of you. And that's the only thing that's distorted, really, about hypervigilance. What if we learn to use the skill of hypervigilance, turned that energy back on ourselves, and became hypervigilant about every little shift of energy, every little symptom in the body that is trying to tell us something, hypervigilant about how food makes you feel, what foods make you feel certain energies and emotions. That is intuitive eating. If you want more information on that, shoot me an email. Email's in the description box below. I do intuitive eating sessions to see how food specifically affects you and your associations, connotations with food from an emotional, energetic standpoint, and I help you create an eating plan that is very organic and intuitive and natural and feels good to you, not generally held ideas of what food should and shouldn't be. Again, there's a lot of shame there too, right? Because it's the whole shoulds and shouldn'ts and the don't eat this and the do eat that. It's all shame and restriction, which I am not an advocate for whatsoever, clearly. So anyway, hypervigilance can be used in any area of your life as long as it's directed back at you. And a lot of this has to do with anxiety. You can see where I'm going. I'm kind of backing up the story here with the hypervigilance. Hypervigilance in the external sense comes from anxiety. And anxiety is simply the avoidance of yourself. You're avoiding yourself and anxiously focusing on something outside of yourself because you're afraid of a particular outcome that you perceive is going to be bad or negative or painful. Not the outcome you want in a pleasant sense. So we're back at anxiety again. And I've done so many videos on anxiety. I love talking about anxiety because there is so much power that can be pulled out of an awareness of anxiety as well. Anxiety is your friend as well, just like hypervigilance, because they're kind of cousins here. They're kind of cousins in the energetic world. I keep saying it, and I will say it again today. Your emotions and the energies that you perceive in your body are a wealth of information that you may choose to receive as wealth. You may choose to perceive as wealth of information, or you may reject. And in so doing, stifle your growth, stifle your self-expression, your self-awareness, and consciousness. Emotions are wealth of information if you choose to receive them with that perspective. Or you can choose to continue to avoid, distract, numb, whatever it is, run away from. And you're keeping yourself in lack if you're doing that. And you're keeping yourself much smaller than you were intended to be. So hypervigilance is your BFF because it is something that can be used for you as a mirror on yourself. Recognizing, taking time, this starts small. A lot of my clients, it really starts small of you have to train your mind to do that. And so maybe it starts really small with setting timers on your phone for various points throughout the day. And when the alarm goes off on your phone, you stop whatever you're doing, prioritize yourself and your self-awareness. You stop whatever you're doing and you take, I don't know, 2 to 5 minutes, whatever kind of time frame you can afford in your current life situation. You take 2 to 5 minutes, you stop, and you check in. What am I feeling right now? Is my body trying to tell me anything right now? What am I sensing? How am I feeling energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally? How am I feeling? And then what do I want to do about it? What would feel really good right now? What would feel really empowering right now? What would feel really nurturing right now? Whatever your goal is for where you want to go emotionally, energetically, whatever energies you take as your value points for your life, and redirecting yourself back there. What do I need in this moment to realign myself to center, to my values, to joy, to groundedness, to calm, to peace, to happiness, whatever your words are? Hypervigilance can most definitely be your BFF. Like I said, if you want personal guidance and help and support in understanding how to do this process with yourself, do shoot me an email. We can book a session and I can really hear your story, what you're dealing with, what you're working with, and help redirect your focus from outside of you in an anxious, hypervigilant way externally into a self-loving, hypervigilant towards yourself, towards your needs, towards your emotions and your feelings, which is really, really empowering, confidence building, and a high self-worth, high value way to go at your life. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.